Recently, I made a video about whether or not Saitama from One Punch Man, or a character like him, could fit into a D&D campaign. The responses were mixed. Regardless, this got me thinking about game design in general. Perhaps One Punch Man is a fairly bad concept in a tabletop format, but how could he possibly be translated into a video game? Now, I know that a trailer was released a few months ago for One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows. But I don't care about that, and I'll tell you why. I don't like fighting games. People do, and that's fine. I just don't. If you can't play as Saitama, the game is pointless. If you can play as Saitama, you'll win every fight, so the game is pointless. If you can play as Saitama, but the game is balanced to require more than one punch per enemy, the game is pointless. You see where I'm going with this? I'm happy to be proved wrong when the game's available, but until then, what kind of game would suit One Punch Man? It's important to consider what we're trying to do here. We need to come up with a way to provide escalating challenge to a character who will automatically win any straight-up fight. If Saitama can connect the punch, his opponent is already dead.
What? But how? Human bastard!
A lot of the show's comedy revolves around the idea that these huge boss enemies are just as easy for him as anything else. This means that traditional game mechanics like hit points and health bars are out. The bullet sponge enemies of a game like Destiny or Borderlands would ruin the entire fantasy. Instead, we should be aiming for numbers. If one enemy takes one punch, we should be introducing lots of enemies. Instead of increasing the challenge level by upping their health, we could increase their numbers, make them better at dodging, or allow them to deflect the player's attacks. Think about that scene in an early episode where Saitama spends half the episode trying to catch a mosquito. He's strong, but he's not necessarily quick in that way, and that is where we can introduce challenge to the player. This is borne out in the series, in fact. The one time we see Saitama working hard, even seeming to enjoy a fight, is in the battle against the Subterraneans.
Die!
The challenge here comes from their numbers, not their strength. This is clearly the kind of challenge he wants, seeing as this is ultimately revealed to be a dream sequence, a fantasy battle against what he considers to be a worthy opponent. What about health? Now, in the series, Saitama is shown to be effectively invulnerable. He can take a cliff-melting immolation blast to the face, he can punch his way through solid earth, and apparently doesn't even need to breathe. So, how do we provide threat to the player? Well, this hypothetical game wouldn't actually be the first that had to deal with an immortal superhero. Now, the overall reception to this game was mixed at best, but 2006's Superman Returns got one thing very right. Superman, as we all know, is invulnerable, indestructible, cannot be hurt, apart from maybe with kryptonite. But Metropolis, the city, isn't. The player's failure in this game wasn't tied to the health of its protagonist, but instead to the amount of damage that the city took. Lose too many buildings, too many innocent civilians, and the game is over. Now, clearly for our One Punch Man game, we could just lift this entire system wholesale. The world is already divided into cities, City A, City B, they're not very imaginatively named, but this is a completely natural fit. Structurally, this game starts to design itself. As Saitama, we would travel from city to city, fighting through hordes of small to medium opponents, en route to the big bad to deliver that final critical punch. Side missions along the way could involve helping out other heroes or random civilians with various tasks, ranging from rescuing stuck cats to battling low-level monsters. This would be a good fit for a health recovery mechanic. By aiding the civilians and helping to rebuild the destruction that these monsters have caused, Saitama can effectively raise his own hit points, if you want to use that term. Along the way, Saitama levels up not in power, but in recognition, going from a rank C to a rank S hero as he proves himself stronger and better than the others. Of course, what I should be telling you is that the game I'm describing already exists, kind of. One Finger Death Punch is basically a 2-button game. You attack left or you attack right. Most early enemies are felled with one blow, and it's kept interesting by the addition of different weapons, combos, enemy types. There's also a huge range of excellent, fluid, gorgeous combat animations. It really is a joy to see it in motion. Frankly, if the developer of One Finger Death Punch was just given the One Punch Man license, I think they'd basically do what I'm describing now, so maybe that could happen? Well, what do you think? Am I on the right track? Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see in the ideal One Punch Man game. If you're really into the idea of the game that's been announced, let me know, maybe I've got the wrong idea about that. Either way, if you enjoyed the video, please give the like button a serious punch, and subscribe if you want to know what's coming next from me. There's more videos on the way, as always, but until then, I'll see you later.